Am I the a-hole for not changing my name back to what it was? So, I joined the army straight out of high school against the wishes of my parents. Basically, they thought I was just having a semester off after high school before going to college. And since I have a late birthday, late August, I waited until I was 18 so I could do it without them knowing. The day before I shipped out for basic, I sat them down and told them I was leaving for a little while and that I'd joined the Army Reserve. My parents always hated the idea of me going and always berated me when I brought it up. I left for basic, and after I finished basic, during my 30-day leave, I called home and asked them if I could stay with them. I knew they were probably still mad, but I didn't expect them to say, "I don't have a son," and hung up. Fast forward 3 years, I'm in college, live in a big city, and have a lovely girlfriend who I live with. My parents came to visit me, and they profusely apologized and wanted to be in my life, and I foolishly accepted. I had changed my name after AIT. For those not in the military, basically you choose a certain job, and after basic training you have to report for job training. So if you're an infantryman, you'd go to infantry school. I changed my name because I wanted to leave my parents in the past, since they obviously didn't love me like they said they did. A few weeks had gone by and they would always call me by my old name and not my new one. When I corrected them, they always shrugged it off. Finally, they sat me down and asked me if I would change my name back. They felt I owed it to them since they raised me and yada yada. I told them they were the ones who left me in the dust, and that I'm proud of my new name. Can't really explain it, but I feel like my new name is just to better me, and that I have worked hard for it. They called me selfish, and said if I really forgive them, I have to show it. And I told them I don't owe them jack and told them to get out. Haven't spoken since. My girlfriend thinks I'm being a bit excessive. Am I? Edit. I feel like I may be the a-hole because I kicked them out of my house for something small, as my girlfriend put it. I don't think I was being unreasonable, but my girlfriend does. Absolutely not an a-hole. Sorry, but this is a bit of a silly one. They don't like your life choices, so they dump you. You leave your past behind and move on. They ask for forgiveness, which you do, but then demand you return to your past self? They're the ones who are selfish. They're the ones who are unreasonable. If they were truly sorry and wanted to move on, they would understand you. I guess, but is it really worth my relationship with them? I love them to death despite what they think of me, and I do want them in my life. Then that is something you have to work on with them. It doesn't mean you have to give in to demands. Relationships are a two-way thing. You all need to work on rebuilding this. As much as you love them and want them in your life, you should realize that yes, they're your parents, but they also did a really horrible thing to you that doesn't deserve dropping and rolling over, just because they gave birth to you. Sometimes parents are kind of horrible people. It's up to you how much you're willing to put up with it. Is it really worth my relationship with them? This is the question you need to answer yourself. It may be the same question but reversed. Is having a relationship with them worth having to deal with them in such situations? Not the whole. Forgiveness never needs to be proven. When people make and then act on a decision, they are, at that moment, accept any and all consequences for that decision. In other words, they made this bed. Now they have to sleep in it. And I'm so curious. Why were they so against you joining the reserves? In my opinion, joining the military is an honorable choice, and a smart one. Especially if you want to go to college, as they'll pay for it. Do you plan on going active duty and going to OCS, Officer Candidate School, after you get your degree? This isn't about the name. They want to go back to how things were. You with your old name and in your old dependent position. And let's all forget about the part where they disowned their teenage son for a career choice. You can forgive, but you have no obligation to forget. Still has to let them move back into that position. You're absolutely not an a-hole to say. If they want a relationship, it has to be on new terms, where they accept you are an adult and don't berate you for your life decisions, starting with your name. Not the a-hole. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for saying I have no siblings when I have a half-sister? I'm 23 female, was born about 2 months after my mom found out my biological father had gotten another woman pregnant. My half-sister, Lucy, was born 3 months after me, and that crap was tough. Kids would ask questions and tease me about it. Teachers would make a huge deal out of it, and would then say she was my best friend and make us sit together every class and do school projects together, up until we were 10. My biological father never cared. He would always dismiss that it was hard. He would tell me a sister was a better gift than being popular anyway and stuff like that, and that I should be proud to have such a cool family. He never truly got over my mom, and he wanted to get back with her, but he also hoped if they got back together, she would take Lucy on too. This was despite him actually marrying Lucy's mom. When it didn't work, he did his best to make us a united family. He would even make us celebrate our birthday between hers and mine. So I always had my birthday acknowledged at his house way late while she got an early birthday. And parties there had to be shared, and even though I didn't want to celebrate, he and Lucy's mom would force me to. But I hated it so much. I knew what he had done. I knew it was messed up and it never went away. One time, I told him he needed to apologize to my mom in front of everyone, so they wouldn't say horrible things about her anymore. I was 12 at the time, and he told me not to be silly, and it was in the past. I ended up choosing not to see him anymore when I was 16, and I haven't seen him since. Lucy tried to keep in touch, but it always made me so uncomfortable being around her. She was shoved down my throat so much, and I was teased about her in our situation, and I never ever developed a relationship with her. Maybe I did when we were kids, but I can honestly say as an adult, I do not miss her in my life, and I told her I wasn't interested in a relationship. I don't tell new people I meet about her. I've always said I have no siblings. A few people close to me get told eventually, but only because I don't like to continue to hide something like that from the people I care about. Anyway, she recently started working with some friends of friends, and we ran into each other through them. Which she then brought up the fact we're half siblings, and one of the friends of friends said I always said I had none. It was weird. And after, she got my number from someone and sent me some messages saying I was an a-hole, and it was an a-hole move to not acknowledge her existence when she did nothing wrong. And then we saw each other again, and she told me to my face that everything I was doing was way worse than anything her parents could have done, and that I should grow the hell up and learn to love her. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your half-sister is not at fault for being born, but she can't demand to be loved by you. Love doesn't work like that. Your dad and stepmom are really messed up. They prevented you and Lucy having a normal relationship because they forced you to play happy family. While I agree with you 100%, I think it's pretty sad that Opie's sister probably has developed that kind of love for her. Since birth, she was told over and over how they are sisters and how they should love and care for each other. And that's probably something she got to develop for Opie. And being avoided like that must hurt her a lot. Not a-hole, but while I understand why you don't have any want in a relationship with her, I hope you understand that she is 100% not at fault for what happened. Your dad is. I can understand being upset at your father, but taking it out on her by choosing to not say you have no siblings is hard. I'd suggest saying you have a half-sister, but that you don't really have a relationship with her. I get that. I just can't deal with a relationship with her. She reminds me every time that my father decided to mess up my family and that things was harder over the years. And she will never truly get it because her core family, her parents, were together and are still together. While I had to go through the chaos of divorced parents and blended families and the messed up things people would say to me as a kid. It's not her fault, but I don't think it would be possible for me to ever truly want her in my life. No a-holes here. No a-holes here except your dad and that teacher. You and Lucy are both just the victims of circumstance. It must have been hard for both of you growing up. Your experiences and personalities are different. That means the two of you have reacted differently and have different coping strategies. You prefer not to have her in your life, or have to explain all the weirdness about having a sibling when you don't see her as a sister. She wants to have you in her life and seeks love from you because, for whatever reason, she does see you as a sister. Those two are not compatible, unfortunately. Both of you have had understandable human reactions, and I don't think you should be too hard on yourself or on Lucy for that. Of course, she feels hurt that the sister she always wanted pretends she doesn't exist. Of course, you feel awkward and threatened when the stranger you never wanted tries to get close and act like your sisters. There's no easy out to any of this. You don't owe her anything, and you must be true to yourself. But try to view her, and yourself, with compassion. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I don't want to care for his 2 children so he can see his other child? My husband, 42, and I, 26, female, have been married for 4 years, together for 6. I am an immigrant. I came in the US with a K-1 visa to marry him and never left, of course. He has 3 children, 13 male, 11 male, 9 female, from a previous marriage. My relationship with his children was always good. He's really involved in their lives and I respect that. On the other hand, my relationship with the rest of his family is bad. No one agreed with our marriage. They tried their hardest to separate us. Our age gap and the fact I'm foreign don't sit well with them, and they don't want to believe I really love my husband. Well, all their efforts pay off, as my husband's oldest son doesn't want to see me anymore, for absolutely no reason. We had a good relationship before and I don't parent any of them, but out of nowhere doesn't want to visit if I'm here. Of course, my husband is hurt by this situation. I get that. Fast forward, he decided he would see his oldest at my parents-in-law. I wasn't thrilled about it, as I know they will talk crap about me, but at least he could see his son. When he visits his oldest, I have to care for his 2 other children because he has weekends custody and they don't want to go to their grandparents' house. Understandably so. I didn't mind at first. It was just an afternoon every 2 weeks. But last weekend, he stayed a full weekend at his parents' house with his oldest. Not only his 2 other children didn't see their dad all weekend long, but he called them for like 10 minutes total, and of course they were sad. When I confronted him about it, telling him it was clearly favoritism and it wasn't fair on the other 2, he denied and said they needed to spend more time together. He then told me to not start a drama about it. I was really calm, so I didn't understand why he was saying that, but then we cut it short and moved on. But come yesterday, he says that he plans on spending a weekend a month at his parents' house, as well as spending an afternoon every other weekend. Okay, fine, but don't expect me to be a nanny all weekend long, I said. And he was like, seriously? You're my wife. You should help me. As a husband, you should try to fix the situation so we can all be home together, I said. Now, I'm well aware that as a wife and a stepmother, I should be willing to care for his children. And I'm willing to, but not for a full weekend. I don't mind taking care of them for a day, but these kids also need their father too. He was mad and called me selfish. I understand that he wants to spend time with his oldest, and I'm all for it. But I don't think he needs to spend a night there. If his oldest get all the father and son time in the world, he will never want the situation to improve and the other 2 will suffer from it as well. Now for the top comments. As his wife and stepmother, you should be willing to be a team and partner in parenting. And it clearly sounds like you are being a partner and he is not. You are far more mature than your husband. His neglected kids will see the favoritism. It's obvious. Not at A-Hall, and please, think long and hard before you have any children of your own with him. I'm glad you see the favoritism, and that I don't make things up. Good thing I don't want children of my own. Most likely when he visits his son, your husband gets to sit on a couch and not parent nor do chores around the house. Basically, he gets a pass for being a parent. He is an A-Hall for letting a 13-year-old rule the family. So, he has 3 other kids, but ditches 2 of them with you and spend his time with his eldest alone? When he should be with all 3. Yeah, you're not an A-Hall here. Sure, there's some level of responsibility to help co-parent your stepchildren. That's what you signed up for when you married into a family with kids. But he should absolutely be there with all his kids, not just the eldest. If there's tension, he needs to be resolving it, not avoiding it by showing favoritism and leaving you to pick up the pieces. Not at A-Hall. This situation is not okay. Either he takes all the kids with him to his parents' house for every visit, or his 2 youngest stay with their mother while he visits his oldest. You are not a live-in nanny, and this is not something you signed up for. Now for the last story. I'm at A-Hall for planning for my daughter to be the only kid to have a private bathroom in the house we're going to build. My husband, 41, and I, 37, have wanted a new house for quite some time. After much discussion and realization that none of the homes we looked at fit our tastes, we decided to take on the project of having our home custom built. We are a blended family. I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. Meanwhile, my husband also has a 14-year-old daughter, as well as a 15-year-old daughter. In the house we're currently living in, my husband and I's bedroom is downstairs and has an ensuite bathroom. The kids' rooms are upstairs, but there's only one bathroom on that floor. My 14-year-old daughter is very diligent about her appearance. She has a lot of followers in social media. People at school always say how good she looks. And she books acting and modeling jobs occasionally, so she always wants to leave the house looking good. She has been very much into the YouTube and Instagram product craze, so she has a very complicated multi-step routine to getting ready. She gets up about an hour early to get ready for the day, but regardless, the bathroom arguments have become intense. Every day her stepsisters complain that they have to brush their teeth in either the master bathroom or other downstairs bathroom with no shower so they are not late. They complain that her products are all over the place, and that there are napkins, stains, whatever else, or that her hairspray smells too strong. My daughter's last name rhymes with Vane, so now her brother and step-siblings call her last name Devane when they argue. My daughter gets upset and is very uncompromising when I suggested shortening her routine. The bathroom situation was priority number 1 yesterday when my husband and I discussed the blueprints of the house. After a lot of suggestions about various possibilities, I asked my husband why not just give my daughter's room an ensuite bathroom. The other 3 kids have no problem coexisting, so they can have the hallway bathroom and be done with it. It seemed to be the cleaner setup, and my stepdaughters didn't have to complain about the multi-angled and full-length mirror, which was what my daughter wanted for our current house. We told the kids about our decision, and my daughter said, "Yay!" But the other 3 kids were in uproar. My son asked why blank Devane is getting rewarded for being vain. And my stepdaughter said that if my daughter didn't have to deal with my son's occasional grossness, or sharing and waiting for that matter, they shouldn't either. My husband said he's willing to discuss, but doesn't care as long as these arguing stops. But I told them that this was the best decision specification-wise. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You're literally rewarding someone for not cleaning up after themselves, and refusing to compromise with their siblings, and forcing 3 people to have to share because one can't deal. Your favoritism is showing through, and your other 3 children don't deserve this. You're the a-hole. Get your daughter a vanity for a room. She doesn't need to be in the actual bathroom for all steps of getting herself ready. Surely you can see how this might upset the other kids in the house. I had a vanity since high school, and it kept my sister and I from fighting over the bathroom. Lol. OP or the a-hole. This is such an easy solution. Apparently, she already has one. She just has several products that she uses in the shower that she has to leave on for a certain amount of time, and demands to monopolize the bathroom all morning every day to do so. I don't think my eyes can roll any further back.